সো আমরা তো শুনেছি যে এনভায়রনমেন্টকে প্রোটেক্ট করতে হবে। কিন্তু শুধু কি আমরা এনভায়রনমেন্টাল ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ড থেকে যারা আছি তারাই এনভায়রনমেন্টকে প্রোটেক্ট করব? যারা অন্য ডিপার্টমেন্ট থেকে আছে তারা কি এনভায়রনমেন্টের জন্য দায়বদ্ধ না? সো আজকে আমরা তেমনই একজন গেস্টের সাথে কথা বলবো যে ল ডিপার্টমেন্ট থেকে গ্র্যাজুয়েট করেছে অ্যান্ড শি ইজ ফ্রম নেপাল অ্যাজ ওয়েল। সো আমরা তার সাথে কথা বলবো অ্যান্ড জানবো তার যে স্টোরি, যে সে কেন এনভায়রনমেন্টাল অ্যাডভোকেসি নিয়ে ইন্টারেস্টেড। সো এই জিনিসটাই তার থেকে জানার চেষ্টা করবো। চলুন তার সাথে কথা বলবো। So yes, today we have Srishti with us, who is an environmental advocate in Nepal. So Srishti, can you please tell me about yourself and why you interest in environment?
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Srishti Gautam. I am a law student. Actually, I'm a law and economics student based in Nepal, Kathmandu University. I have started working in the field of environment since the past 4 years almost. My interest in environmental advocacy started from the fact that in Nepal we had to face a lot of problems regarding the glacier melting, and we had to face a lot of problems in regards to disasters like flood, landslides, and everything. And I have personally faced impacts of the climate change, of the environmental destruction by myself. Because of that, I always wanted to work for something to provide justice to the people and also to the planet. So I think that motive drive the work that I do.
Thank you. So yes, Srishti, Bangladesh has lost a similar type of problem, but though Bangladesh is low-lying country. But I want to know more about Nepal, as the Nepal has the glacier problem and all you said before. So what are the main environmental problems you face on your own life?
Yeah.
And
So
why you connect those stuff with your profession as well?
yeah. Okay, so first of all, we have three main problems in regards to the environmental destruction in Nepal. First one is the flood. I think it is also similar to Bangladesh. We also have a lot of rivers. Actually, Nepal is the second largest country which has a lot of rivers, second richest country in the river water resources. But even though we have a lot of resources, it is not properly managed. And also we have glaciers that are melting every day, and because of that reason, sometimes floods come and a lot of houses are swept away, people are swept away. Last year only we had economic loss of almost billions of amounts, and this year also we're facing a lot of problems. Almost 40 plus people died this month only because of the flood that came in Kathmandu, and especially during the Dasai Tihar season, which is the festival season in Nepal. A lot of people from the main city like Dhaka, we have our capital city called Kathmandu. So from Kathmandu to their homes, they travel to their homes for vacation. But while traveling to their homes, because we have a lot of hills, right?
Yes.
So because of flood and because of continuous heavy rain, we have landslides, and because of landslides, all the roads are obstructed. People cannot go back to their home. Last year only, I had to go back to my hometown. It took me almost 3 days to reach my hometown, even though the distance is only 5 hours from my city to my hometown. So yes,
It's huge.
it's really huge, and it always obstructs our daily life. Sometimes schools are closed because of these disasters, and in schools also children cannot get proper education. So this is one of the problems that we're facing in our daily life. And me personally, I have also faced a challenge of losing my home to flood. I have lost my home to flood, and because of that we had to move from one village, that was our village, to another place. Now we're living in city. I mean, we lost our land, but more importantly, we also lost our culture, our roots. There still are some people, indigenous people, living in that village, and their day to day lives are obstructed. They cannot produce, they cannot work in the farms and in agriculture sector as much as they could have done because of the changing climate. The disasters are increasing, and there are no resources to fight with the environmental destructions that happen day to day life in Nepal.
It's very miserable. Though Bangladesh also also face a flood problem. I can relate one of my cousin who is stuck in Cox's Bazar, you know, the largest village in Bangladesh. So he's stuck in Cox's Bazar for 3 days because the flood is occurring in the area where you have to come through the train Dhaka. So overall, this was the huge problem in our region, South Asian region, right? So we should all have to work on that particular thing.
Yeah, I think the regional collaboration is one of the most important thing that all of us should focus on because we can connect problems with each other and more the problems we can also have more solutions if more people are collaborating with each other.
Right. So Srishti, I'm also curious about how people are protecting the nature in Nepal.
Actually, previously there were not much of environmental organizations that were working to solve these problems. But nowadays, because people are more aware and they are also more educated and also they have the access to technology, they are every day seeing what is happening around the world and also inside their own country. And because of that reason, youths are more aware and youths are also getting a lot of information about how other young people from other countries and other regions they are solving these problems. So we have more organizations like more youth-led organizations and they are also collaborating with governments to sort of find out new initiatives and ways to conduct environmental action. Especially in regards to climate action, first of all, people are obviously doing the regular stuffs like tree plantation and everything. But then now they have also become more aware about how climate crisis is also a human rights crisis. It is affecting human rights. It is also affecting people's daily lives, but it is also affecting the people's right to life, which is one of the constitutional rights, I think, in almost all of the countries. I think it is also a constitutional right in Bangladesh and it is also in Nepal. So that has been obstructed and now it has been a matter of rights, matter of empowerment, and matter of people's day-to-day symbol. So because of that reason, they are now also taking these issues to directly to governmental panels and everything. They are conducting a lot of researches on how do we solve those problems, how do we build better infrastructure so that it will be properly able to adapt to the situations. So I think for countries like Nepal, our main problem is not mitigation because we really emit less amount of carbon. I think for Bangladesh also they emit less amount of carbon, but we have to adapt. Adaptation is our main focus and we are trying to build innovative solutions in how can we adapt to the existing disasters. So that is one of the main focus a lot of people are working in, and I have also established my new initiative. Previously, I used to work in an organization called World Seas for Climate Justice, where we used to connect law, policy, and we used to work with government to take this issue to the International Court of Justice, which is the highest court of the world. So we were successful in this campaign, and International Court of Justice also issued the decision advisory opinion, which we call advisory opinion is basically an opinion that court gives to us, and it speaks about how we can protect the climate and how what are the legal obligations of the states and how is it connected, how is climate crisis connected to human rights. They have simplified it in the advisory opinion, and I think people are also learning from that to impact to create some changes in the national policies and national laws also. But about one of my initiatives that I have recently established and named it as Nyaya Vatika, which in English translates to Justice Garden. It works to solve climate law problems because we don't have any databases of how many incidents happen almost every time, and we also focus regionally to bring data from other countries like Bangladesh, like Pakistan, from India, South Asian countries, so that we can learn from those problems and we can also save the future of climate law, how we can use law to solve the environmental problems. So yes, I think a lot of innovative ideas are coming up and we should definitely support those ideas and also inspire others to create change.
Sure, but alongside, I think the integration of technology will be more efficient for the climate justice and everything. What do you think about it?
I think for me also the main focus has always been integrating technology, especially because we are in the modern era of science and technology, right? Now everything is digitalized, from the content that we watch and everything, like how we consume a lot of news and everything, right? So because of that, a lot of people, they don't even newspapers these days. They search online, maybe they read articles or something like that. And for us law students, we also don't read the journals, the printed journals anymore to find cases and case laws. So I think it is really important that we build databases of climate incidents, and we can also start to calculate the damages, economic and non-economic damages that is created by climate crisis. I think that would be one of the most important things that we can do by connecting technology and then using the climatic real life incidents that are already happening. And also how we can do is that we can create a lot of tech related solutions. Maybe we can use AI, that is one of the most powerful things that we have in this era, to build some innovative solutions. For example, some youths in Nepal, they are working on calculating carbon footprints of various industries and also like individuals, and using the AI system. And I think that is really innovative, and they have also won a lot of awards. So I think the future of climate is also technology. So we should focus on expanding that.
So, as we all know, every resources is limited, especially natural resources. So, we have to more concern about it, and we have to focus on the environmental sustainability as per our uses. What do you think about it, and how the Nepali peoples are applying those stuff in day to day life? And are they concerned about this environmental sustainability or not?
Yes, I think that is a common concern of not only Nepal, but South Asia, but Asia and all the world. And now we're talking these days about energy, minerals, fossil fuels, and something like that. But then I'm sure there will come a time in future that we will not even have regular air that we breathe to breathe. So that is a huge crisis right ahead of us. And in Nepal, people are working to solve this crisis by creating sustainable innovations, especially in regards to creation of sustainable plates, sustainable bottles like this to reduce the plastic consumption. And this has started since a long time ago, and a lot of people, especially youths, are making sustainability as a new fashion, new trend. So this is really helping us to shift from unsustainable practices and goods and a lot of stuffs to sustainable ones. But being said that, there are a lot of things that are still happening. Like our country has one oil drilling project, which is basically that government is drilling oil and trying to bring out some resources from the ground. And while people are minimizing their carbon footprint, trying to limit their resource use, but governments are doing opposite of that, then I think that will not help us at all. That will just take us backward from our community and from all the initiatives that we're taking for the environment. So now it is a high time that not only individuals but also governments and corporations who are polluting the environment, who are using the resources to their benefit, must be warned and must be held accountable.
I will have another question, that is, do you feel that there is similarities between Bangladesh and Nepal when it comes into the environment and climate justice and climate change as well?
Yes, there are a lot of similarities, especially in regards to the plain lands of Bangladesh. In Nepal, also, we have some plain lands, which is actually the 17% of the country's area, which is less than Bangladesh. But still, we have similar topography and similar similar geographical situation in that area. But commonly also in the hill area and also in the Tarai, which is a plain area, we are facing one similar problem, that is a flood. That our cities are drowning, that our cities don't have good services to adapt to with those rainfall and heavy disasters. Like whenever there is a heavy rainfall in Dhaka, I observed that there are a lot of waters that are formed and a lot of insects and mosquitoes also come there, and people are also suffering from dengue, malaria, and a lot of things because of that reason. And also, it is obstructing the travel from people from one place to another. People
Yes.
cannot go from their schools to home properly and something like
I would
that.
say this is the infrastructural errors in
Yes.
Bangladesh, because when the architectures or the, what can I say, or the companies who are, especially real estate companies, they're seeking mainly profit. They're not thinking about the environment. That is why we face that kind of flood in the urban area as well, which is not low laying area, and it would be never happen to particularly those areas, but we face it and we are going through a lot of trouble for this. And did you feel that in Nepal have similar type of problem? And yes, Bangladesh is also facing lots of problems in the hill area, which is landslide. In Bangladesh there are lots of major landslide issues in hill areas like Chittagong and other hill areas, and Nepal is the hilly country. Do you face a similar type of problem?
Yes, like I said, we have a lot of hills and mountains. So landslide is one of the major problem that people are losing lives, people are losing their homes and their cultures and their people. Yes, so one of the major problems is landslide. And but also in the city area,
Is it occur in monsoon or the reason of the earthquake?
yeah.
Which is what is the major reason? Because monsoon is the climate related induced problem, and earthquake is not like that. So, what do you think? What is the major problem of landslide?
Earthquake is also one of the problems that we face in Nepal, but it is not as frequent as natural monsoons. But then I wish I could say it is monsoon, but now because of climate change, I think monsoons have also shifted. Now we are having floods in the month of autumn. Even in autumn, we are facing monsoon. Like September, October is one of those months where there would be like autumn, there would be really pleasant climate in Nepal. But now we are facing monsoon in September, October, which is, I think, clearly a result of climate change that has happened. And because of that reason, we're seeing a lot of disasters that have never happened before. Like you said, we also have the problem of infrastructure imbalance. Kathmandu, as a city, it is a valley, and it is also somehow in hilly area. But then, even though it is situated in such an area, a lot of people are facing problems due to the inefficient infrastructure, and houses are drowning. All of the economic, like shops, the roads, everything are drowning because of that reason. But then along with that, we can also see another major thing, that climate crisis is not just a climate crisis but a class crisis, which means climate crisis affects people who are marginalized, who have less access to some property, less access to infrastructure building, people who are going to poverty, people who are from indigenous communities. They are facing more problems than those who are rich and who can adapt to the climatic disasters.
Right. But we are mainly focused in our conversation, which is flood. But I want to know about the winter. In my childhood, I basically saw in winter morning in front of my house, there is lots of fog. But nowadays, I can't feel the winter anymore. What do you think? Nepal has similar type of problem due to climate change.
Yes, I think global warming is universal. In past, we used to have winters, and I live in a city called Dhulikhel. It is one of the cold cities of Nepal, and sometimes we used to also face snowfall, light snowfall in that city. Yes, before. But nowadays we don't get any kind of snowfall because winters are no more like winters. Now they are like autumn or something around that. Even in winters, we're not feeling as cold as we used to feel before. But summers are really hot than how it was before. I think this is the exact concept of global warming that is coming into the real life.
Did you know about the term heat island?
Heat island.
Yeah. This is fancy term, but I recently published a video on my YouTube channel regarding this. Heat island is basically like there is a urban area with lots of concrete. Our roads are made by concrete. Our buildings are made by concrete. For that reason, the sun heat is absorbed by the concrete, but they not reflect back instantly as like the soil do. For that reason, our city area are becoming heat island. That's why it was heating.
Yeah.
And that's why the researcher or the educator called it heat island. And this is the fancy term when I heard about it, and I was shocked about this term. And global warming is affecting by this as well. And also, Dhaka is facing another problem, which is there is a limited water body right now. Right now, Dhaka it have 10 to 12% water body. And water body is major factor in a city because the humidity comes from the water body, and our water body mostly polluted. So first, did you visit Buriganga?
No, not yet.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
bring you
you should take
here.
me to there.
Okay.
Okay, so after I hear the concept of heat island, now I also do realize how important is it to be knowledgeable and equipped in scientific knowledge. Like you are a student of environmental
Science.
Yes, environmental science. I am a student of law. I know more of legal concepts, more of international law concept and justice concept. But sometimes I lack in the knowledge of science, environment science. So I think this is the beauty of collaboration and beauty of working together. That now I know the concepts like heat island. Now I can apply to those knowledges in from the perspective of law and justice. I think we should definitely collaborate and work together on these issues.
Yes, I'm very happy to have you as a guest, and also we can work together in future for the climate justice. As I'm student of environmental science and disaster management, and you're from the Department of Law, your disciplinary is law. So if we collaborate with the other disciplinaries who are from non-environmental background, we can doing great, and also it will be a collective effort, and it will be affect our environment as well. We can change the climate related issues according to us. We can make it more sustainable for our future generations, which will become for the next days. So it will be more effective to us, I think. As we said before that the winter issues. I think in 2025 we'll have no winter. I think we will face this problem, and who will born in that era, they will never see or never feel that how the winter was, or how we was feel the winter, or how we enjoy the winter at those past days. So that will be more effective if we collaborate with the law, with the tech, with the technologies who are in background of technology and the law as well. So overall, we have to create a collaborative effort, right?
Yes, that is true. Climate crisis will not be affecting only one person or only one country. It is a global problem and it needs global solution. If not today, tomorrow it will definitely affect your future generations too, your children's too. That is why I think all of us need to join our hands together and start finding a sustainable solution.
Yes. So last question is, what is the message for the younger generation from you? related to the environment, especially.
For the younger generation, for the children who are growing up, I think climate crisis is affecting youths, but it will affect your generation the most. More than us, you will be affected. So I think you need to step up to fight for your right to defend the climate that is your home. And if you'll not speak, your voices will go unheard. That's why from today, I think you need to step up and you should advocate for climate justice, for environmental justice from any way you can. You can take a small step from changing your one habit to speaking in a conference, speaking in front of a lot of people, or even doing some small action. You can do that, and we will be helping you as youths to lead the change. Thank you.
I'm very pleased to having you as a guest, and I have a one request to you. Can you say thank you to my audience in Bangla? It is called ধন্যবাদ।
ধন্যবাদ।
ধন্যবাদ ভিডিওটা দেখার জন্য।
ভিডিওতে দেখার জন্য Sure. ধন্যবাদ ভিডিওতে দেখার জন্য।
Okay,
I hope I'm right.
That's great.
Yes. People will comment like, oh, what are you speaking?